The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here he is, Brandon.
Welcome to the Brandon Peters Show as we kick off year number 6 of this wonderful program. Today's episode features a discussion of the 2019 film Verotika. Joining me for this celebration and discussion, we have from the Saturday Evening Post and author of Marvel Comics for Dummies, Troy Brownfield.
Greetings.
Greetings, Troy. I'm really happy to have you as the person here for this moment. So this is kind of a pivotal moment in my podcasting, I guess, and I should probably notate it or something. But yes, 5 years ago, the Brandon Peters Show began around this time in September of 2020. The best time to start a podcast, I think. I don't know. But that also means that 5 years ago, my previous podcast, Cult Cinema Cavalcade, ended, but also means that 10 years ago, Cult Cinema Cavalcade began, which was my first regular, I'm doing it podcast venture. I'd been a part of a couple shows beforehand, notably the Ichabod Crane cast covering Sleepy Hollow on Fox, and the 24, the Jack and Chloe Adventure Cast, which the 24 little legacy sequel season with Kiefer Sutherland, covered that with both those shows with Aaron Neuwirth and Maxwell Haddad. So yeah, and before we get to our film discussion today, I want to take you kind of, the audience, Troy, with me here to bounce back and forth off some behind the scenes of all of that as it happened. And maybe it's time to talk or something. I don't know. We're not going to get nasty or anything. But so Troy's here to chat about it with me. And Troy and I have been friends now for well over 10 years. We met in the Cult Cinema Cavalcade and all that days. And he was a pivotal guest in the history of that show, as well as my old blog, Naptown Nerd, which he guest wrote for as well. And Troy was on many episodes of Cult Cinema Cavalcade. He brought with it his own theme. We didn't let him do anything but TV movies for a while. Satan starts to come into play with that right away. And he was also part of our, he's the guest on one of our award-winning episodes, Mazes and Monsters, and which someone requested me do on this show, and I'm like, did it. Here's Cult Cinema Cavalcade episode. Enjoy that. And then you joined us for an in-person trivia thing at PopCon one year. Yeah. So he knows the ropes. Yeah. So Troy, you've been through all this with me. Thoughts?
Well, I can put a date to it. It was 2011 when I started working at the place where you were already working. I don't know if we can legally.
That's when I started too.
Okay,
yeah.
So right on. So yeah, so we've known each other a bit, but yeah. What's funny is the Cult Cinema Cavalcade turn toward the Satanic Panic stuff and everything. I was already kind of like a hobbyist of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I would, if got into conversations with people who didn't know stuff about it or didn't remember it, I was more than happy to go deep. And then when we got into it, on a couple of the podcast episodes, I was like, oh, awesome. It was a niche, it was kind of because I've got, obviously the comic stuff and all the other stuff, but it's you
found it in Mr. Boogedy of all things. You found Satanic Panic stuff in that.
Yeah, but it was funny too when Mazes and Monsters came up, and I'm like, yeah, because I remember watching it on TV at the time, and I had a solid, recollection of what the vibe was of the time. So it became a funny thing that we could revisit that repeatedly.
Well, it's
And
funny. You unlocked something in me during that. The first episode we had, what was the first? Was it WNUF? Was that the first one?
it might be we did on that we did Prince of Darkness
Mm-hmm.
but Prince of Darkness was later. It was like
Yeah.
because we made a big deal about it being the first like actual movie.
Yes. Yeah. I think, yeah. I can't remember what your first one might have been, but like I remember WNUF, like really, that was a long recording
Yeah.
because you unlocked that door, and then we started talking about that stuff, and like that unlocked with my like I suddenly was like, yeah, I lived through that. I remember this vibe, this and things. Memories started flooding in, and I was fascinated with it as well. So I'm like, this is gonna be a thing Troy and I talk about. That the world is going to know that's what we talk about, and I'm proud to this day. I'm happy that one of the most successful like podcast episodes we've ever done was the Warrens one we did. And we even had a vehement person come out in the comments about what we were talking about. And then I found out a guest of the show, Pres Maxon, talked to me, like, because I told him about that being a successful episode. And he said that, did I ever tell you about the time I went and visited Lorraine Warren and I had dinner with her? And all I was like, what? He's like, yeah, we found an ad for like their tours and stuff, and I just randomly called the number. I talked to a guy. They said it was $100, and basically that went toward the dinner because they rented this restaurant room and everything else. They went to the house. He saw like the rooms and stuff, and they just chatted. He's like, she's a real. He's like, I don't believe anything, but she's a really nice lady, and I enjoyed listening to her talk.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. He was funny. He's like, I didn't expect someone to answer the phone or to be that direct, and it was Lorraine on the other line. And so it's just, yeah. So he went to her house. He's seen that room of things, and he did it all. So, um,
Damn.
but yeah, so that unlocked it, and I liked, yeah, you were definitely. And then when I transitioned to this show, I was like, Troy's gonna be a part of that immediately, and we did that. I went so ambitious on that round. Like I wanted to do more of that remake roundtable thing that I went so hard on the first one that I was like, I didn't have it. I killed my energy for doing them in the future because that trailer I cut was like, gosh, that was crazy. Um, so yeah, Cult Cinema Cavalcade started 10 years ago, back in August of 2015, and it was a show I wanted to. I was listening to shows like How Did This Get Made, and there was another one, and I can't remember. And one of them just I didn't like how they talked about the movies, and then How Did This Get Made? Like I understand they are a more commercialized entity, but I'm like, there are much deeper dives you guys could be showing people than the ones you're talking about. Although that's a highly popular good show. I love the host, but I
Yeah.
kind of want to do my own spin on that. And I had a lot of other podcasts I was listening to. So we started that show, and it ran, and then like um it had a lot. Yeah, I met a lot of like got a lot, some connected people. I had some fun episodes on it, which I'll talk about some stuff here. But like, I started like after 3 years of that, I was kind of done and checked out of it because it like I learned very quickly like if you don't want to have like 8 different podcasts or something like that, you don't want to put yourself in a corner by calling yourself a certain thing with the show. Like, Cult Cinema Cavalcade, like I can't really talk about all the president's men on
Right.
Cult Cinema Cavalcade. Put yourself in a corner, and that was kind of bugging me, and some other stuff, and I kind of just wanted to control my own thing too, and went for a while longer, but uh, COVID happened, so I had a thing where like in December of 2019, my father passed away, and I took a break. I paused Cult Cinema Cavalcade, and then I decided to come back, and I wanted to go hard, and I kind of wanted to see if people keep up with me, and did this Godzilla run, this marathon of Godzilla episodes, and that just felt like ended up being felt like a perfect way to just like, here's one big run to finish it all, although that wasn't made known, kind of. And then Troy, this is where you come into it. This is funny. So, the end of Cult Cinema Cavalcade, after the Godzilla run, I emailed you about doing Glenn Danzig's Verotika, the movie we're going to talk about today.
Yep.
And I threw up a live episode we hadn't released from Starbase Indie from the previous November to delay things because I didn't feel like recording with Cult Cinema Cavalcade anymore. And I emailed you about Verotika, and you weren't going to be available for a while to do it. And I didn't. And at that point, I was like, I don't feel like figuring anything else out. And I just stopped recording. And I was like, a couple weeks went by. I'm like, yeah, this is over. Like, this is done. So, Troy, you killed Cult Cinema Cavalcade. You
Damn
did
it.
No. Or you
You
helped,
bastard.
or you helped start the Brandon Peters show. By the way, because I had it in my mind and was wanting to do it, and I finally, it just took the courage because Cult Cinema Cavalcade had gotten so popular and was a well-oiled machine. I kind of just rode with that for a while, and I just, when that came, I was just like, I don't feel like scheduling for this no more. I don't feel like recording. And at the time, I was working from home a lot, and I was like, I'm sick of being in front of my laptop all day. And then
Yeah.
at night, pulling it up. It was a lot of things with COVID with that. And I was getting excited about planning something new and ambitious. And then I wrote a letter to my co-host about being done. But actually, before that, I had pitched the show, my new show, to my producer, Bradley Shoemaker. And he's like, dude, end Cult Cinema Cavalcade and do this. This is awesome. So, with that kind of like immediate, like, I was like, okay, I had the courage to do that and worked on it. And yeah, and it was funny because I ended it, but we never announced we ended Cult Cinema Cavalcade. We just kind of, and then we won an award after. like, like it ended. I officially ended in June, and like where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's done. And then in July we won an award, and I had to do a video acceptance speech, and I just like, yeah, we're done. Like that was it. And then I wrote a post. I recorded a final episode to talk, and I wrote a piece to say we're done. This is what
Yeah.
the future holds. So, and it's actually my Instagram page was the that Brandon 4KUHD. If you're not already following, what the hell? Was the at CC Cavalcade, and I flipped it to Brandon 4KUHD. So that's what happened. That was the end of Cult Cinema Cavalcade. So Troy, you were part of that. It all comes together.
All right.
Because if you would have listened to my last episode, I announced that we were doing Glenn Danzig's Verotika, and Troy, like, why is this? That's why it had meaning. We're gonna finish what never happened tonight.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think why I wouldn't have been available in the period there. I think that there might have been
You were
uh
writing, you were working on, you wanted to focus on, I think you were writing a book or a comic or something at the time, and you wanted all your focus there. Like, I
that
think
makes sense.
that might have been it.
There's
Uh,
some shit, yeah.
I'm sure if we go back through our message chain or emails or something, like we could
Yeah.
find it, but like it was something like I think you said like you needed like a month or month and a half you were working, and I
Oh,
was like, you know what? No, it's like I'm done. I don't want to talk about this. Like I wasn't going to talk about Veronica with anybody else.
aw.
And like I was like, nope, nope. So we ended it. It was all over. Um, Yep. So we didn't. It's called Cinema Cavalcade. Did not make it to another June Dawn Baker month. It didn't have one last June. We used to do June Dawn Baker month. But
So
I
think
have.
about what you could do with Walking Tall now.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Holy shit.
True, true. Um. So I put together some things that are things that you never knew happened on the show for Cult Cinema Cavalcade that I thought might be neat. If you're a Cult Cinema Cavalcade listener and then came over to this show and you're still here, Let me know if you're on YouTube. Leave a comment if you are on the socials. Go ahead and you can message me or like tweet or X at me. Um, but I got some like things. So, there's a lost episode of Cult Cinema Cavalcade that has never been put out there. Um, two of them actually. There's a live one, and the one actually got recorded, but not the way it was supposed to be. We recorded a whole episode of it was the Star Trek the motion picture versus Star Trek V the Final Frontier. It was with Randy Schaefer, and we recorded it. And guess what? I forgot to hit record.
Oh my God.
He was unavailable to schedule it before we needed to release it. So
Wow.
the late great Jim Dietz replaced him, and we talked about it then. And then also there was a live show that we did at PopCon, and I was always trying to figure out this: how do I crack the code for the live show? Just like get people interested, be the thing. So we put together. I had an idea, like doing a speed read of Attack of the Clones. And so the idea was in the 50-minute time slot to try to quickly read through the dialogue and everything for Attack of the Clones with myself, my co-host, and we had Jessica Alsman. We had Nick Rust from the Literate Gamer podcast, and we had Andy Ober, who was at the Indiana Business Journal at the time and stuff, and he was our stage directions person. And we didn't get done. We got to like meeting Owen. We did get the sand part in, but we didn't. We got about halfway through the script. But we recorded it. It didn't quite work. We did have a guy very excited about it and wanted a copy of the script that I printed out and us to all sign it. So yeah, I signed a script of Attack of the Clones. But my co-host vehemently said we're not releasing that and delete it. Don't. I was like, okay. So didn't like it. So I
So he killed it, Padme.
he killed
Not
it.
just the men, but the women, children.
The women and the children. There was also another live performance that didn't happen. Justin Beam had reached out to me and said he was going to be at PopCon as a moderator and wanted to be part of the live show. So we were going to do Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. And at the last minute, he's like, I'm not going to be there, I guess. They're not going to have me as a moderator. And so I recorded the end of the episode. So we decided to do Terror Squad with our producer, Brad Shoemaker. And I intentionally changed, like, I was like, on the next episode of Cult Cinema Cavalcade, we'll be talking. And I put in Terror Squad from so be there to see us doing Terror Squad. And someone was like, did they have something else there before? That sounded like a cut. It was like intentionally supposed to sound like something was gone. So people wondered. So that was one of the things. We had let's see here. There was here's some guest stuff that didn't happen on Cult Cinema Cavalcade. Jennifer Love Hewitt. I talked to her people to talk about at the time it was the like would have been 20th anniversary of I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Damn.
And they got back to me and that they told me that her press agent said she's declining it, not doing interviews right now, but she wanted to tell you that she was delighted you were thinking of her. So
Okay.
there we go.
I gotta say, if Jennifer Love Hewitt spent all of her time telling young men that she was delighted that they were thinking of her, she didn't get any work done.
Yeah. I know. I was like, well, that's something. I also tried to attempted to get Melissa Villasenor from Saturday Night Live, and I had to go through hoops, hurdles, barbed wire fences and all sorts of things for like close to 2 months to be told no.
Oh my God.
It was it was a layer of people that I had to provide numbers for my podcast. I had to provide where I'd be share. Like it was fucking nuts. I first contacted during what would have been an upcoming break on the show where availability would have been something,
Yeah.
and it led into like they were well into like the episodes and stuff, and then it was just like no, because and like she probably never had any fucking clue. I like, why don't you just ask her? But like the Saturday Night Live barrier is a real thing. I had been warned about it, but like holy shit, I couldn't like they should have just told me no up front, but they let me go through this person and this person and this person and this person, and it was crazy.
Yeah, that I can't believe sometimes the self-defeating mechanism that prevents people from getting publicity that's easy publicity.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes it makes you look cooler to do something smaller.
Yeah.
Is like, I'll use the example of Entertainment Tonight because I was thinking about it disconnectedly, or E-News or whatever. Fucking everybody did those things.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do something that's kind of out of the way or that's a little more indie or whatever, I think it just
Mm-hmm.
makes you look cooler.
Yeah. And I
And
and I told them up front, look, she is going to be a bigger deal for my podcast than my podcast is going to be for her doing it. Or like it's going to be a bigger
yeah,
deal for like it's going to help my show more than it will help her. I said
yeah,
that right up front. Like, but I mean, they still kept me going after that. But like, I was upfront and honest. I was like, I am who I am. But yeah, uh,
maybe you should try Sarah Sherman now. She's crazy. She might.
she's awesome. Yeah, yeah, maybe, but you can't get to her. That'd be the problem. That's the thing. I let's see here. Oh, I have some like editing craziness. So my my one of my favorite interviews I've ever done in my entire life was the one I did with Linnea Quigley on the show, and we were primarily talking about um her workout video, the horror workout.
Yeah.
And so when I came home to record that, I opened up my computer and it was dead. Like, I was like, oh fuck. And I couldn't, I was like, oh man. And she like, and I figure I'm like, I had to teach my co-host how to fucking record and shit. And I had to come on via phone to do it. So my vocals aren't that great. And I had to explain to Linnea. She's like, do you wanna like set up another time? And I'm like, no, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. I'll go, I promise you it's gonna sound elite when there's this. She's like, I don't care about sound quality. I was like, it's okay. So we did the interview and she thought it was like great. Um she was texting me after and she was like, you got stuff out of me that no one's ever gotten out of me before. It was like it was great. It was the whole thing. But when I edited that thing, I went back and did like I recorded with like this over like myself so it would sound good and professional. Like I went through the whole interview. It's like an hour and a half, close to 2 hours maybe, and like act as if I had to act again and stuff, and like nobody noticed, and she listened to it. She was like, "That was great. Oh my god, it didn't even sound like you're on the phone." I'm like, because it wasn't, but yeah, she liked that. The big thing that caught her eye was that I knew she was supposed to be in Reservoir Dogs and asked her about it, and she was happy. But she would like, yeah, we kept in touch for a bit via text. That was kind of cool. But yeah, I replaced that, and then I had another episode when we talked Hack-O-Lantern with Audrey Lane. Couldn't get schedules to work out, so I recorded with myself and guest Audrey Lane. We chatted about the movie, and then I recorded separate. Me and my co-host chat about the movie, and I edit it together like all three of us were talking. Nobody noticed a thing.
Yeah.
It was nuts. I was an insane editor back then, but I was like, because my co-host was a little bit problematic about showing up and doing things, so I was like, all right, fine. So I did it that way. What other notes do I have? Oh, I had to tell off not tell off, uh, a Faye Dunaway fan group and stuff. We were talking about Supergirl on my show with Todd Liebenow of Forgotten Films, and I was putting up promo stuff for it, and some group thought I like Faye Dunaway was going to be on our show and stuff, and was like all email, and like I had to explain some like no, we're just talking about Supergirl, but they're like got word out from like some sect of her fandom. She won't do commentary for this movie, but she'll be on this show to talk about Supergirl. What the fuck? And I had to be like, no, she's not on here. Trust me. um, let's okay. We had one of my favorite people on here was a genuine person. So if you ever have her for a guest or anything, I'm going to say Sarah Priebus, who at the time was part of HQ Trivia, which is the trivia everybody played on their phones for a while back in the day, where you like play trivia and try to make money. And she's gone out. She just was just in a movie with Kyle Gallner called Just Breathe, and she's got a Music City Mistletoe movie about it. She was going to be on one of the early Brandon Peters show episodes, but she moved to she was in the process of moving from New York to Los Angeles, and I think she's back in New York now, but like just never have gotten back to hook up to record again. But I'm happy to see her busy. She's genuine. She does her own managing. Does a lot. If you follow her on social media, she like gives the like true stuff about acting, and when it's like for auditions and stuff, no holds barred. She's not kissing any ass. Like it. Let's see. Weirdest interview was Larry Zerner. Shelley from Nightmare on Elm or not, Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D. He had new things to talk about, but he got on and told me immediately, he's like, yeah, I just talked about this stuff on another podcast last week. I don't feel like talking about it again.
Nice.
It was about the legal situation with the Friday the 13th rights and stuff, which was very fresh. And so I'm like, okay. And then I wanted to get new stuff out of him. And he just, I tell people all the time, the celebrities, when you interview them, it's hard because like I like to ask stuff that I can't find on a Blu-ray or a Fangoria. You know, I want to ask the same shit, but a lot of them want to play the hits. They want to just answer the same questions and tell the same stories. Yeah. Larry is limited because, you know, he's only been in he was in like an Altman film and he was in a Friday the 13th film, but like he's got plenty of stories he could tell as a lawyer too. He's a Hollywood lawyer and he's represented many like B-level horror talents. So, but it was really, yeah. And then Jimmy O decided he like wasn't a good interviewer. It was really because he was asking him stuff about the score for Friday the 13th. And Larry's like, do you think I had say in that? It's like, Jimmy, Jimmy does press junkets all the time. Like, what are you doing? You know this. So I gave him shit after that. I was like, what were you doing asking about the fucking score, dude? So it was funny. But yeah, he hooked us up with a couple guys like Todd Farmer. That was a cool one. We were up all night because he freaking like stood us up for the first time we were going to record that interview. And then he showed up and he's just a cool dude. Let's see here. Michael Dudikoff once liked a meme I made for American Ninja for our show. I was like, that meant the world, Mr. Dudikoff. That was cool. Neil Breen never got him on that show. That was I emailed with him a few times, and I think he was just like, I don't know. He's just weird. So like, I know it's him from the email, and I'm like, and I know he's trying to sound like he's not him, I tried multiple times to get him to come on, and I just don't think. I think he knows what people think of him, but I wasn't going to treat him like that. But the funny thing was, we did PopCon. We put his picture in a frame, and we were trying to tell people to tweet him to tell him to put us in their movie as his next movie as a cameo, and all that. And then the funny thing was, I ordered one of his movies, And the Monday after PopCon that year, it showed up and it had this big stamp on it that said Breen and his address. And everybody's like, it's a cease and desist. It's a cease and desist. I was like, nope, just one of his movies. He sends his little movies. They're on, he, s- he sells them for like $35 and they're like on just a burned disc and in a sleeve, not even a case, nothing like that. But we did have Victoria Viveros, uh, who was in one of his movies, and that was we were hoping to get more out of her talking about Neil Breen. Um, but I could tell she was like, "No, I want to work in this town, Vegas." But she was very like she was all about this horror movie she was working on, and that was really weird too because we were interviewing her, and like 45 minutes in the interview, like she starts talking about this movie. Oh, the director's right here. He's all of a sudden, hey guys. I'm like, what? He was here the whole time? Like, what is this? What is this? But she kept sending me pictures from her shoot for this movie. I was like, cool. Like, thanks. Um, yeah. Neil Breen. Which was quite fun. But I think Neil Breen is the perfect pivot to our next discussion. The movie that never got discussed on Cult Cinema Cavalcade. Glenn Danzig's Verotika.
I've come to get your face.
Cause of death? Apparent shock and loss of blood.
Which is directed by Glenn Danzig, written by Glenn Danzig and Brigitte Ryan, starring Ashley Wisdom, Rachel Allig, Alice Tate, Caden Cross, star of Samurai Cop 2, Deadly Vengeance. A name I think is kind of awesome. Scotch Hopkins, Sean Kana, and Natalie Borowski. This is a surreal and bloody trilogy of erotic horror. Stories culled from Glenn Danzig's comics. So, Troy, I'm going to throw this to you. If listeners aren't aware, can you please give them the 411 on one Glenn Danzig?
Okay. Glenn Danzig, not his real name. Glenn is his real name, but
With one N or two? Is two right, or the add one?
Two N's. Glenn Danzig formed the Misfits in 1977. You'll find some sources say 1976, but I'm pretty confident it's actually 77. And with bassist Jerry Only, who has been in every version of that band that's existed since. And the Misfits, I'll just say this up front. And we don't mean anything by it, but we're going to say unkind things about the movie, I'm sure. But Glenn Danzig is a formative, foundational person in punk and horror-related music and heavy metal. He is a talent who has done a lot of stuff and inspired countless bands, including some of the biggest bands in the world, like Metallica, Guns N' Roses, etc. There is massive fandom for stuff he has done from the Misfits on up among many of your favorite bands. But, you know, the Misfits actually only existed for a short period of time in their first incarnation. The Danzig wrote everything, and they existed from basically 77 to 83. And, you know, him and Jerry Only and Doyle, Wolfgang von Frankenstein, um, and a series of drummers. But a lot of these songs that they put out, they had 7-inch singles that had, maybe 3 songs. They had EPs. They had like 2 proper albums at a certain point, and like a whole mess of singles and everything. But these were hugely influential. They were released on a label that Danzig started. Originally, it was called Blank Records, and a bigger studio, I can't remember, a bigger label, the name eludes me at the moment, which bigger label was going to do a subdivision called Blank, and they found out Danzig owned it, and they went to him, and he negotiated 30 hours of studio time and right of first refusal on the recordings and stuff. And so he gave them Blank Records. They gave him the studio time, some money, and he formed Plan 9 as his label, which all the rest of the Misfits stuff came out on Plan 9 and during that period. And the bigger label never put any of the stuff out. They turned everything down.
Hmm.
But that kind of made them cooler in a way, because it's like DIY, we've got our own label, we're doing this kind of horror, science fiction, comic book slash inspired punk that was also inspired by the 50s. Danzig developed a signature vocal style, which is kind of a crooning, like Elvis, Jim Morrison thing. If you don't believe me about Elvis, he just did a cover album of Elvis songs not too long ago.
Oh.
But after he left, basically the Misfits kind of dissolved in '83, and then another incarnation of Misfits formed and played, and then Danzig did Sam Hain for a little bit, but then formed the band that you probably know him from, Danzig,
Mm-hmm.
which, first album was '88, I think. It had Mother on it, the original version of Mother, and then um, Danzig 2 Lucifuge was the second album, and then Danzig um, had a live album that they did, a live version of Mother, that was a breakout massive hit on MTV.
Yep.
Um,
It
it
was
actually
buzzworthy
buzzworthy,
and
yeah,
made the MTV Buzzbin Volume 1 CD, which I owned.
and it hit the top 100, the Hot 100 on Billboard. It was like number 46 or something. It topped out, but that played every 20 minutes on MTV basically that year. Beavis and Butt had talked about it, and so like millions of people who had no idea about the Misfits or anything, all of a sudden like Danzig was kind of omnipresent. At the same time, there was a lot of talk picking up about the X-Men film, and a lot of people were in favor of Wolverine being Danzig because he was a huge comic fan.
Mm-hmm.
He made no secret of this. He's very muscular. He's kind of short. And he had like the big sideburns and everything. I refer you to the Mother live video if you want to see what Danzig looked like in 1993. And a lot of people were like, God damn, he's Wolverine. But of course that never came to pass. But during that same period, there's a big comic boom in the 90s. A lot of independent um, presses are started, like Image Comics and so forth. And Danzig started his own Verotika Comics label to do kind of horror and fantasy stuff with, an erotic layer to it. Not too dissimilar from some other publishers like Zenoscope that certain podcast guests may have written for. Um, but, Danzig did the hardcore horror, and that stuff was always present in the Misfits. The Misfits, people know that Crimson Ghost
Yeah.
logo, which was from a 1946 horror film, The Crimson Ghost. It was like a B movie, but that logo for the T-shirts, the albums comes from that. The Danzig skull that you've no doubt seen, with the horns, like the curled horns that's on the
Mm-hmm.
Danzig album covers, is actually a image from the cover of Crystal, the Crystal Warrior #8 from Marvel Comics. You see the giant skull with the horns at the bottom of the image, and Danzig basically free-handed a version of that, and that's what you see on those album covers, those Danzig
Hmm.
covers. It's from Crystal, the Crystal Warrior. But Danzig has distinguished himself as a musician and songwriter. He's written songs that have been recorded by Roy Orbison, who was one of his idols, and Johnny Cash. Yeah, they recorded Danzig songs. And then in 2016, after years of acrimony and legal shit and everything, he and Doyle and Jerry only they had previously come to terms about who had control of the Misfits, uh, the entity, basically. And Danzig got control of the back catalog of songs. Jerry and Doyle were allowed to tour as the Misfits, and they would split all the merchandise among them. It was a pretty amicable resolution after years of stuff. And then in 2016, out of fucking nowhere, they reformed at Riot Fest in Chicago. And it's like a goddamn Misfits concert with Danzig singing. And since then, they have continued to appear. They did Coachella this year.
Hmm.
I mean, so they do it sporadically. They haven't mounted any large tours, but they'll do one-offs at big festivals and things and maybe play a couple shows a year as them, and the other guys will still do like non-Danzig Misfit stuff a bit, but the Danzig and the Misfits thing is ongoing. And it's pretty funny too if you see some of the footage from some of these shows, they're having a good time,
Hmm.
which is always kind of weirdly heartwarming no matter the genre when you see people who have played together off and on for 40, 50, in the case of the Stones, 60 years, and you see they still smile at each other on stage, that it's like, it's nice. They remember why they do what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so Danzig, I feel like he wrote a lot of the comics and he even drew some stuff. He's a talented guy, but at a certain point, he wanted to make a movie.
Right.
And it reminds me of the thing of like, my youngest son is 18. He's a film, student. He's a freshman in college. And I look at some of the stuff that he does effortlessly with a phone or like recording and editing and stuff.
Uh-huh.
It reminds me of why I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Because his low tech stuff is so much better with something he shot on the phone in the yard than I would do with like one of Christopher Nolan's IMAX cameras. It just blows my
Yeah.
head. So it's like, and this is the thing about writing or music or painting or filmmaking or everything. Art is fucking hard.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why, a lot of us have a lot of disdain for generative AI, as a thing because it's hard.
Yeah.
And making movies is hard. Ask Tommy Wiseau. And, Brandon's had truck with making films like in high school. You made your
Yeah.
film in the school and everything. You've told me about that. I don't know if you've ever talked about that on the podcast, but
May or may not have.
that's a
Yeah.
damn good story. And I was in a kind of an indie movie called The Hangman's Light.
Hmm.
Uh, that I played a news cameraman in that. And I'm sorry I was not shortlisted for any major supporting awards that year. But it's being on the inside and doing stuff. I also played the killer in a couple of scenes, and because I could fit in the outfit, and one of the guys wasn't there when he was supposed to be. So like
Hmm.
I got to do, hey, movie magic, So I got to
Right.
both sides, and even that is hard.
Well,
Like,
I agree. Like the I mean, I was told like whatever people think of it, like I tell people like the director Bob Cannota of Soul Killer when he made that and stuff, and I was just like we reconnected. Like I left Los Angeles, I hadn't talked for him years, and I saw it was finished, and I reached out to him because I wanted to see it. And it's like, man, I don't care what people say. You freaking shot and completed a film. That's tremendous in itself.
yeah, it's a minor miracle that anything of quality gets made
Right.
ever.
No. And people don't understand. Like I was just talking about this because about people just not understanding and think it's just like so there's an ease to things and stuff. But there's a shoot for the PBS Doctor Who documentary currently working on, and like had an interview set up for Sunday and get all packed up and driving halfway there to a place that's about like an hour and a half away or so. And person's like, oops, sorry, I double booked something. I'm not gonna be able to do that today. Like, I don't think you realize. And this was after telling them on the way. ETA is this. And it's
Wow.
like, you realize, like, you have to like sign out equipment. You have to like, it's
Yeah.
yeah. People just don't understand. And things that people can't even like doing this podcast. It's work. It's not as easy as people think it is. Well, you just talk. No, it's more to it than that. Way
Yeah.
more.
And
So
I threw out Tommy Wiseau as a reference because you will find in discussion of Verotika online people saying stuff like horror has its own The Room and it's this.
yeah, and like I said, this does have Neil Breen. They're feeling Neil Breen to it, and this is why I want to explain too why I prefer something like Verotica because in terms like of the and consider it like this is in the vein of a true cult classic midnight movie, so bad it's good craft, because Glenn Danzig and the people in this movie making it are putting a serious effort into the film, and it's just not happening for them. The result just doesn't turn out like that. Works better than people are like, ha ha. Like, the difference I always tell people: Birdemic 1, guy trying to make it, doesn't have the money to make this movie, makes it. Birdemic 2, he knows what the hell people thought of the first one and is making the second one with that in mind. Um, and man, like, maybe it's my old age stuff, but like I would have loved to have had a small part in this movie in Veronica. Just like you're like, oh, I was in Veronica. Like, watch this is silly. You know, people are gonna talk to you about that more than if you were like an extra in something like Cool, or like it's gonna
Yeah.
come up. But I think this is the genuine article, and like nobody. I think there's a lot of people here that don't get hired often or for major projects or anything like that. Not that this was a major project, but it's just Glenn Danzig's horror movie. Of course, it's got some
Yeah.
stature to it, but nobody in here, I believe, is like looks peeved to be there, or I think they are trying to make this the best movie they can.
Yeah. And quick aside, the Misfits should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But anyway,
Okay.
so that's when you're talking about that's, you know, again, maybe even in the influence category,
Hmm.
would be a really great place to acknowledge them. But it's like, you do see this phenomenon sometime of people who are very talented in a couple of ways that might want to they extend their reach. They're like, oh yeah, not that so much. Um,
Yeah.
get it a lot with like rock stars who want to paint. Or kind of George W. Bush painting flowers and landscapes now, and it's like some of them aren't half bad, but like you know that like this was never going to have been the career for him had he not gone into oil and baseball and politics.
It's the Dirk Diggler in Boogie Nights becoming the you got the touch.
Yeah.
You got the power. Have I ever told you how that comes back around?
No.
So, the touch came from Transformers,
Yeah.
the movie.
Stan Book.
Yes. And then it magically appears in Boogie Nights,
Yeah.
okay? From a time period around the same. Then Mark Wahlberg goes on to become the star of Transformers,
Oh shit.
did two movies, and then the first one without him, Bumblebee, Haley Steinfeld gets in the car, plays music, and it's The Touch, and it came back around. It went to here, and then boom, back to the Transformers. So we have completed the touch.
Yeah.
Like that. I was like, yeah, there we go. Um, but yeah, there's the musician that becomes the actor, or the actor that becomes the musician, and it doesn't work out.
The world may never know. Which is funny because, Haley Steinfeld is a
Yep.
actor who is also a musician.
Yep. Yes, indeed. Um, we mentioned up top Jennifer Love Hewitt as well.
Yeah.
She had a little single for the "I Still Know What You Did Last Summer" soundtrack. But yeah, there's those sort of, just like the wrestler that becomes the actor. It's a whole lot thing. It doesn't always work out. You don't
Yeah.
always get Dave Bautista's.
Yeah. You've got what's ironic is Batista and John Cena both came up in Ohio Valley at the same time. And
Mm,
Batista was Leviathan and Cena was Prototype. And those dudes were doing their stuff at the same time, at the same formative level. And they turned out to be the two wrestlers who are good actors.
yeah, yeah, like no, yeah, like Batista's just been. He's in this, like, or I'm like, one day he's gonna direct a picture and it's gonna be pretty good, and people are like, what the hell happened? I'm like, look at his choices, look at who he's working with. Like, that's what
Yeah.
that's where he's learning. He's picking up things. He's gonna know lenses. He's gonna know, like, he's smart. Adam Driver currently, he's been doing the same thing. One day he'll direct something and everybody's like, where'd this come from? I'm like, just like, because, like, if you look at Bradley Cooper,
Yeah.
when Star is Born came out, really, where'd this come from? Like, he was working with Eastwood. He was working, like, all these people. Like,
Yeah.
pay attention to what they're doing, dummies. Affleck did that too. Like, it's like, yeah, they start working. They work with the people they want to learn from. So
Yeah. I find it funny when people are like, Affleck won an Oscar for Argo, and it's like, well, don't you remember that he and Matt Damon won Oscars in their 20s for writing Good Will Hunting
Oh,
and
but Matt
acting?
Damon didn't write that, or Matt Damon wrote that. He didn't. Blah, blah, blah. Like,
Yeah.
they
Bullshit.
they wrote
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah.
if
So,
they
so
didn't write it, they wouldn't be, like, still palling doing movies and stuff together. Like, there'd be a
yeah.
bitterness that, like, oh, you got credit for what I did.
So so the transition between arts is hard, and Danzig did kind of an interesting thing where it's like he created the comics and then used the comics as a basis for the film. So
Yeah.
it's within the brand, but these are the three stories that were chosen to be the
Right.
film
And
stories.
visually, visually, if these were music videos, like, if you, like, made some sort of montage and music videoed them, I don't think our lens on this would be as harsh. I also noted somewhere along the line, let me find it. Oh, if this movie would have been cut to pan and scan and put on VHS tape and been watched about 25 times and on a video nasties list with a superb cover, we might have something.
Yep.
Like, it this
Oh,
might have been seen differently. Like, I could see some of this stuff being used in somebody else's background on a monitor or looking crazy. Like, look at this, ooh, satanic stuff in the background. But as its own thing,
yeah. I meant to look this up and I forgot because I suck. But Satan's Storybook was
uh-huh.
I saw it on VHS. It was an anthology in the late
Okay.
80s. And it was of a similar quality to this. And I was going to look it up and see, um,
From 1989.
yeah. But it had kind of the same vibe.
Straight to video with Ginger Lynn.
Yep.
All right.
Also employing folks from the adult industry in a quote unquote straight horror picture. Um, but
I never watched this. I should check it out.
hey, it's in our wheelhouse. Mark it.
Yeah. Ding.
But
Coming
no,
soon.
so you've got this thing of Danzig having a prodigious reputation in music and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
success, really, and he made a lot of comics. Verotika, to my knowledge, hasn't put out like any new stuff in a few years, but there was a good run of several years where they put out a lot of stuff, a lot of miniseries and everything. And if
Hmm.
I'm forgetting anything that happened in more recent time, I apologize. But I think, at least maybe 5, 6 years or so, I don't think they've had much of anything. But I'll tell you this from another angle, comics is fucking hard.
Yeah.
And trying to get stuff out and distribute it and everything, even if you've got money, even if you're famous and everything, it is not easy. And it is not easy to make multiple titles and to get artists and letters and colorists and editors and the people that need to make a comic company of any kind function is ridiculously difficult. And because it doesn't pay, up front or as timely as other industries or fast food work do, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes you have huge gaps in money. So, and again, like movies, um, sometimes when something really great comes out, you're kind of like, wow, how'd that happen? Because you know how, not just how the sausage is made, but how the animal is dehydrated. Like all of the terrible stuff that has to happen for
Right.
it, and then you're just kind of amazed. Like that guy's actually made a lot of comics. And then so you see where the impulse comes from to take it to the next step. He also does all the music in the film, which is natural as well.
It's a regular John Carpenter.
Yeah. And and some of the music is pre-existing, some of the music is new, but it's not bad. It's stuff that is of a quality that you might find in other films, especially horror films.
It had the most appropriate like strip club music I've seen in a movie in a long time. Like it felt like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, this is what you'd hear there. Yeah, for sure.
Like I'm not going to pay for Stranglehold, I'll just write a new song.
Yeah. Did you, by the way, off topic here? Did you ever subscribe to that Facebook page that was the same picture of Danzig every day?
No, but I know about it.
And they just posted the same picture of Glenn Danzig every day. I was like, oh, this is great.
And okay, there is that side where he is so serious in those earlier days
Mm-hmm.
that it makes it easier to make fun of people that are that serious.
Right.
There were other punk bands who didn't like them because they're like, oh, they're just like Kiss as a punk band because of the double locks and the big jackets and everything, and
Yeah.
and they were all weightlifters, so they're all really big guys, which kind of went against the punk aesthetic outside of like, Henry Rollins and stuff, who was a specimen. There are a lot of people
Right.
who were just not that. And, you know, they were having a good time with their horror sci-fi comic book punk rock, They were, and there's some people who didn't like that. And so that kind of made them an island unto themselves, that some people would just like make fun of them and everything. Especially, but now I feel like Danzig has maybe loosened up a little bit. Like you
Mm-hmm.
see the guy smiling on stage, that's weird,
Yeah.
you know, like laughing.
In these later years, I'm going to enjoy life.
That's right.
Um. So yeah, this is an anthology, and I guess we can take a look at each segment and, with comments and stuff, as we should.
I love the way that you said that. I guess we could take a look at each segment.
I guess we could take a look at them. Um. Now, there's a wraparound to this, but it might be the most unnecessary, useless. Why wraparound? Like we start with a woman. He's got this Fulci eye gouge tribute to start, and like this woman goes, "Welcome to Verotika." Oh,
Yeah. She,
sure, okay,
she's clearly meant to be like the crypt keeper
yeah,
slash whatever horror.
Elvira or what? Well, not even a horror host, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's not like she's not a hot chick. I mean, she's an
yeah,
adult actress, and Not just age of majority. She is an adult
Yes.
personality, but there's just nothing there. None
No.
of the import of a Rod Serling or the humor of a Crypt Keeper or anything like that.
And it's just like, welcome to Verotica. Oh,
Yeah,
sure. We're here. Yeah. And then like through the segments, like there's like a hint to what the previous one was. Like it, like the first story has to do with eyes. So
yeah,
she was holding the eyeballs, and then the next one has to do with like faces. So she's holding the face, and it's like, but it does like we don't learn anything. This is like, hey, this is a story, or here's the next one. It's just I
yeah,
I just like you couldn't have done more to like get this going, this like wraparound thing that's supposed to link us all through, but no.
yeah. Yeah,
And
and it is, and this is I think where some of the Room comparisons come in, is that it's just loaded with weird choices.
oh yeah.
And oh my God, the jump cuts.
Yeah, the jump cuts and it's in 235-1, which I think is a choice he made in post where he's like, "Oh yeah, I bet it looks more cinematic if I put the mats up on the top and bottom." Cuz like I don't a lot of this the framing looks like off and stuff, and I think it's cuz he mad at it because he thinks, "Oh, this is what big movies look like." And he definitely it's digital, so I mean I'm sure it was shot at 178, but and then added later, but I don't think he on set shot it for this.
Yeah,
Um, because yeah, there's some people that's like, why is her head chopped off right here? Like, what are we doing? Um, and with technique wise too, there's a lot of camera pans that are at the speed of whatever he's feeling in the moment because it's like slow pan. Oh, go up here, go find.
yeah,
It's like, wait, what? What are you doing? Um,
yeah. And there is another camera operator credited, but Danzig is also credited for operating the camera. So
oh,
when Brandon says whatever he felt like, there's a good portion of the film that is whatever he felt like. He was literally
yes,
operating the camera,
yeah, he
like
was.
Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's a regular Robert Rodriguez, that Glenn Danzig. I mean, low budget, probably shot in some small warehouses. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
The the first story we have is the albino spider of Dajet, and boy, this one gets off to an interesting start. Where um, we have this. It's about a woman who's got eyeballs where her nipples are supposed to be. So she's got fake boobs with fake eyes spirited gummed on that you can completely see the adhesive and stuff on
and
them.
which and ostensibly has nothing to do with anything else that happens.
No. And the dialogue with it start is funny. It's like, your tits, they're looking at me. And then anyway, Lisa, she's like, not again. And this girl, it tells this girl like it happened again. Of course it happened again. Like what are we doing here? And the all the people in this movie are born and raised in the United States. I just want to put that clearly because we have people doing French accents
Yeah,
like someone's doing Mario impressions almost. It's wild.
yeah.
Like I kept looking up actors as I'm watching this and I'm like, I bet they're yep, United States. United States. The our star of it, Ashley Williams, she's born and raised in Texas. The most non-French of
Wait. Paris, Texas. No.
oh yeah, there we go.
Dad joke from the back.
There you go. Yeah, there's this little white spider that becomes a Spider Man.
Yeah, after getting cried on Or
Yeah. Um, he's weird. Um, like he kills people for her. I don't I don't know. He's evil. He's big and he's evil. He looks like he tried out for the part of Wishmaster and got rejected.
he reminds me of the Marvel villain Anti-Venom.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
But he's got the multiple arms to evoke the spider thing, but the other arms just hang there,
Yeah.
which,
They're not even connected with wire to the other ones, so when they raise, they'll raise as well.
they just kind of bounce.
Yeah. Like
And
the idea on his face is not bad.
yeah,
Like,
it's like almost there. It's
yeah.
like it
It's
has
just not
a
it's not
very
lit right. That's probably the problem.
yeah. He probably has like a decent shot of looking good in a low lit 80s kind of movie, where it's
Yeah.
shot in actual film, and they could have done the same thing and like added a little more shadow and made it sinister because there's a lot of bright lights on him.
Yeah. I mean, this thing is everybody's lit quite well and bright. And while I'm like, oh, that's nice, we can see everything, it's also giving me like Cinemax softcore porn vibes at times.
Yeah.
Um,
And those times would be between the opening and the ending of the film.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's that's kind of what it's got there. I mean, acting as well, but some of it, it just doesn't look like it. Someone forgot to put the movie filter over everything
Yeah.
with
And
it.
and like Brandon said, the spider guy is like maybe is killing people for her, but there's not really a fleshed out motivation except that, he's sexually aggressive and likes to break necks. I mean,
Yeah, he waits for this girl. He's like in the alley, and she's like, "What's up?" And he's like, I wish to bend you over right here and fuck you in the ass." I'm like, "That's the weirdest thing from a monster I've ever heard."
but kind of also the unintentionally humorous part about it is the prostitute he's talking to. She's kind of like, yeah, well, like
Yeah,
heard that before,
it's like $7.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
it's. I hate to use such a reductive phrase, but it's so fucking weird.
yeah, yeah. And well, there's also a scene where they go to like that porn theater or whatever, and I
Yeah,
was getting Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 flashbacks from the like fake makeshift theater they made in that,
yeah,
where like these people like they talk about. I've always heard the joke about like he can't like someone's such a bad actor they can't even convincingly walk through a door,
yeah,
and it's like full of people who aren't even convincingly watching a movie
yeah.
when she walks in there. It's like overdone. It's just like, oh man. Whew. It ends with the like police shoot. I guess bullets kill the spider guy. So
Yeah.
found his weakness. And she dies, and with the nipple hanging out with the eye. That we were like, oh yeah, look at
The
that.
unexplained eye.
The unexplained eye. Which yeah, okay, sure. And we go, which takes us to our second story, which is called Change of Face. Is this the best one? If you had to pick from the three of them,
Yeah, it's the closest to a story.
that it's the closest to a story that I can follow, maybe.
And it does have Mike Barnes from the Karate Kid 3 and Cobra Kai.
There you go. Yeah, it basically there's this woman who cuts people's faces off and collects them. That's the story. Um,
But once again, the motivation is unclear as to
mhm.
she's at least it's a little more there. I mean, she's got a ruined face and she's trying to employ the face, but you don't see her like temporarily heal her face or anything like that. Anything that you
Right.
might expect the stuff. And she is a exotic dancer under the inspired name of Mystery Girl.
Yeah. Yes, the mystery girl, and the at the like emptiest strip clubs of all time. That's where she dances.
Yeah, and
I
so
I gotta say, like this one particularly, I was like, he really doesn't know how to like edit or like when he's shooting matchup angles or positions with cuts and everything, because it will it drives your brain crazy. You're like, wait, she was over there. Oh, what? Why are they looking that way? What now? They're this.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, perhaps there was no reshoots, and he just was like, well, I'm stuck with shit, so here we go.
Yeah.
Because
But
sometimes editing, you just got to be like, well, that sucks. I'm just gonna forge ahead,
yeah.
and maybe that's the entirety of this movie. But
Yeah. There are multiple scenes of mystery girl pole dancing that, you know, just nothing else is happening
yeah,
at the time. It's like not really advancing the plot. It's just kind of reiterating that this is her pole dancing.
yeah, and the mystery girl whose line is, "Haven't you heard? I'm the face collector. I've come to get your face."
And delivered like that.
Yeah, to this girl named Kitty who, wow, just when you think the performances in here couldn't get any more or less, I don't think I've even ever seen a movie or a stage play before to know how to do this thing they call acting. She goes and delivers. Like, um, and I wish they do this like the in action makeup effects for this film aren't winning any awards,
Right.
but there's some post action effects that aren't bad makeup and stuff wise. There's some stuff that I'm like, this is all right. But if they're doing something in the process of like when they cut a face or like something like it's like, but like some of the stuff, so I'm like, it's not bad. Like the face after stuff's been peeled off, like that's all right.
Well,
I'm trying to say nice things about in case Glenn's listening to this podcast about his movie.
well, I think there's a great bit that, I did super enjoy and laughed at when they're talking about like one of the victims with their face cut off, and the cop's like, again?
I like this. Like they're like, this is the 13th one. I think they're connected.
Yeah. That's like a huge time jump because it's like there's like four and then it's like 13.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that it does it Mike Barnes say, you think?
Yeah.
But that was funny. It's like that for a moment it was like this ray of self-awareness that kind
Right.
of cut through the thing that like totally killed me. Like that was
That was good. Yeah, and this guy they got played the detective with the bald guy. Ah, 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 ah.
yeah. Yeah, which is nowhere near his real voice. I mean, I kind of feel like he's just kind of fucking around.
Yeah.
But he might be having the best time of anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's sort of like a real performance.
It's sort of like, hey, I'm just gonna like ham it up in this movie. Um, yeah, and there was a one baffling choice too. So like the cop figures out he goes to the strip club and he walks up to the front with the sign and then it fades out and then immediately cuts to him talking to the front door guy. Like, wait, what?
Yeah,
Like,
where did the clue come from? I like rewound that and I'm like, wait, how
yeah,
how did he actually get there?
I don't know, but I think like one of the recent victims is a stripper or something. But like,
Yeah,
he goes there and it fades out as if
he asked
we're
for
gonna
her
go.
specific.
Well, we're gonna go away from something, and then it cuts right to like where he could have just like had the guy look at that and cut to him talking to the guy, but he faded out as if like some time was gonna pass by or something like that, and it just
Yeah,
no.
but yeah. So you could see them putting the two and two together of like dancers, but then he goes he asks for mystery girl.
Yeah,
And that's the
yeah.
thing that I'm like, what the fuck?
Did we not shoot this scene?
Yeah, I'm like, I felt like it was something. And I went back and I'm like, no, I don't. What happened? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There's also the headlines that come up on the screen that are like the most like not newspaper looking headline things that are like so clean and just
Yeah.
okay. We do get a time jump in this where it's like 6 months later and it's the new/same strip club and now she's Mysteria and she looks like a Mortal Kombat character. But um she does keep a wall of faces. And it's kind of neat because it's not fancy. It's just literally she put a nail on the wall and hung a face, and that's it. Like
Yeah, but she's working her way through college. When she gets a real house, she'll put frames on them.
that's true. Yeah, yeah. She'll get it. Yeah. Like that's
Right now, they're just thumbtacked in the wall.
right. Yeah. I was just like, it's shot as if it's supposed to be some big epic spectacle, but it's not. No, it's just faces on the wall. That's what I thought was funny. So yeah, yep. This one. Brace yourself, folks. It might be the best one. Might be. Of these because our last one is Drukija, Contessa of Blood,
Just
which
getting around now. Ugh.
yeah, which hey, when this one started up, I was like, whoa, production value. Look at that. So, yeah, this one. Oh my God. Um, it, I don't know what the fuck this is. But there's this woman who looks like Dollar General Jean Marsh from Willow, leading stuff. And it opens with like, yeah, they're out in some scenic area for real. It's not like green
Yeah.
screen. And they're on, her and this guy are on horses, and there's these people around. But like, dude, I don't know what the hell's going on here. Like, are the horses going in circles? Are they going back and forth? Or are they approaching like Lancelot and the Holy Grail? Like, it was a mess of editing
Yeah.
and way too long. It
Yeah.
was holy shit.
And the stuff outside looks so much better
Yeah.
because when they're inside the castle, like there's a couple of scenes and they're close to the walls, and the way that the light hits it, you could tell that the walls are plastic, that it's like Great
Yeah.
Wolf Lodge, Magic Quest kind of stuff, like Children's Museum,
Yeah.
castle walls. Like you tell it's plastic,
Yeah.
and that is kind of hilarious. But like when they're outside, it looks way better.
Yeah. Yeah. Outside, it's period piece stuff. And I gotta ask, Troy, why wasn't this one called Bloodbath?
Yeah, I don't know. And
I like
obviously,
I
yeah, it's obviously a riff on Elizabeth Bathory. Uh,
mhm.
if you folks don't know the Blood Countess, in fact, you should check out The Blood Queen Omnibus from Dynamite, written by
Oh.
Troy Brownfield. No, it's the Elizabeth Bathory story, Countess Dracula, etc. This has been nodded at in dozens and dozens of movies. Hammer did the hell out of it,
Mhm.
Blood Queen that I wrote at Dynamite is a riff on it. But I mean, obviously this is the thing that they're going with, and it's from again one of Danzig's comics. I haven't read it, so I don't know, what the thing is. But really the the premise as all the Bathory stories, queen/sorceress, whatever, using the blood of
Mhm.
virgins to stay young. But this installment is nothing but a succession of virgins being killed. There's no other plot than that. It's
Yeah.
it's just
Here,
just
here's a little blonde
kills.
girl with smaller boobs. Cut her open and bathe in her blood. Like that's all it is. It's like three of them in a
Yeah,
row. And like it was funny too, like like there was one where they like sell this girl off and then they cut and then like she's got her wrist slit, she's tied up, and he's slowly panning down. And then right when it gets to her nipples, he cuts to like a medium shot of her away. I'm like, what? Okay. That was
yeah,
that's bad exploit. Like you're making an erotic film. That's like bad. It's a bad cut right there. Like what are you
yeah.
doing? Um, yeah, and there's just there was one where like they have a girl, they're bathing, and they bring like another one in the middle. I'm like, please, let's get this. I think she's clean. I think she's got her blood all over her. Like it's oh Man.
Yeah, and going toward the beheading, spoilers.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
thought there
There is
might be a
they.
turn and some other story thing might happen, but it didn't.
Yeah. Nope.
And and it ends without anything else happening.
Yo, there
It
was
was
a wolf in it.
yeah.
I was stunned at that. I'm like, oh geez. I hope there was like an animal wrangler on set.
But apart from that, it is just scenes.
It's scenes of like just hear me, I'm rubbing blood all over my boobs. That's what it is.
Yep. There is no story here. There is a premise and scenes.
Yeah. I and then this one, crazy enough, ends with somebody who has a collection of heads on their wall, just like someone who had faces on the wall at the end. Like, why didn't the first one end with someone with like, it's like, oh, two of them had that. And I thought the first one to the second one, because there's a scene in the second one where the mystery girl, like the cop shows up and he like just unloads on the mystery girl as she runs away. I'm like, oh, is she gonna get killed by bullets too? Is that like the thing? But then we go back in time for our third story. Like
Yeah.
it's not like, yeah, it's like, here we go. Contemporary, medieval. Like, what are we? Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have our outro.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. Here's the credits.
Yeah.
Woo!
See you next time.
Yeah. I was like,
Which
I wrote down, oh, goodbye from our host. Okay. Like, that's really,
that's it.
yeah, this movie is, yeah, it's baffling. I'm glad I've seen it once. I I don't know if this is like a, hey man, you get an audience together, it's a hoot. I think it's just a fascination, like conversation starter
Yeah.
in this type of thing. Because just the baffling choices, the like, what did we watch? Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, and this screened at Cinepocalypse,
Hmm.
and
There was some buzz about how it was, yeah.
and there was much laughter in the audience, which apparently puzzled Danzig because he didn't think he'd made something that was funny.
Mm,
But the people thought it was funny, and they encouraged other people to come and see it in a room-like capacity,
mm,
which
gotcha.
now makes me think of that fucking fantastic. Oh, Tommy, I didn't know it was you. If
Oh.
they could do that with Danzig. Oh, Danzig, I didn't know it was you. Like nobody looks like Tommy, and nobody looks like Danzig.
Right.
But yeah, so I like in a way, so I kind of feel bad for him in a way of sitting there and like watching people laugh at like your erotic horror anthology that you tried to make, but at the same time, it's
Hmm.
kind of like I watched it. What are you gonna do? Like if I was in the room with like one of my buddies and it's at midnight and I've probably been drinking at one of these cons or whatever, and like this stuff starts happening with the eye nipples and the spider guy in the alley and stuff, I'm gonna be laughing,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Like as opposed to the kind of 90 minutes of incredulity I experienced when I was watching it by myself.
Right. Yeah. Watching it by yourself, I'm not sure like this one doesn't like, it doesn't have like, there's times where I can watch these by myself and anticipate what's going to work for the crowd, what's going to
Yeah.
work for, and this one I was just like, I don't know. I guess I'd have to see it with the crowd. I
Yeah.
mean, everybody could come and like rub like strawberry stuff all over their face
Yeah.
or during a scene or something. Yeah.
I can probably guarantee the high point was the cops talking. I'm
Oh,
certain of that.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And sometimes when you're watching a film that's not very good, that those brief moments where it's almost like somebody is trying to amuse themselves is the release valve.
Right.
It gives you kind of permission
That
to
makes
laugh.
sense. Yeah.
So I
True.
I worked when I was at Indiana State, I worked a screening that a local filmmaker had made of this action movie called Vengeance of Tai that was
Okay.
like a the main character was a white martial artist, a dude who was like a CIA operative. But do you remember like One Hit Wonder Jane Child?
That
Don't Want
sounds
to Fall in Love. She had kind of like the boxed up mullet and then the long hair and I mean,
okay.
this is what the dude looked like. He had like Giles hair on top, but Billy Ray Cyrus's mullet,
Oh,
and he was the martial artist. And, like the actor was there, with the director screening, and like about 30 or 40 people had come to watch it. And I'll never forget it as long as I live. The guy deserves is like, why did you betray us to the cartel? We lost a lot of good men because of you. And like the audience just fucking died laughing. And I was just like, try because I was working. I was trying not to like laugh
right.
too. I was like supposed to be the smart person. And you know, you can see like the director guy's soul die a little bit when as they have. So it's like I feel bad for anybody that goes through some kind of thing like that.
Right.
You know?
It doesn't embrace it like Ed Wood would have.
Yeah. Edwin thought it was great. They love it.
I love it. Uh, so Glenn Danzig has done another film since this 2021's Death Rider in the House of Vampires, which is a Western starring Devon Sawa, Julian Sands,
Of course it does. Of course it did.
Danny Trejo, and returns to work with Ashley Wisdom is back in this one, and my guy Scotch Hopkins. But Glenn Danzig himself is in it as well.
Well, shit. I think you just picked our next move.
Right? I'm curious as to see where he went. If he's making a Western with vampires, okay.
But there's some decent people. I'll watch Danny Trejo. Come on.
Yeah. This one had Caroline Williams. That was like one of the few people. She's in the boring ass Bloodbath one.
Yeah.
From Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 and The Stepfather 2. Um,
Yeah.
but oof.
Yeah. It's just, it is one of those things that's just like inert. Like
Yeah.
there's no like spark to it. Like I saw on a semi-related note, movies that can go either way for people. Um the boys and I watched I mean I've seen it a bunch of times obviously, but the boys and I watched Return of the Living Dead.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first time that they'd seen it.
Oh.
And well, it's just one of those things like kind of oversight stuff because like they've seen Night and Dawn and
Yeah.
uh Snyder and Guns Dawn
Mm.
and other stuff, but they hadn't seen Return of the Living Dead. And I was really kind of curious mostly about what Kyle was going to say because he's like tends to be the more critical of the ones. And it's very broad and very goofy and
It's
a
a
lot of
party
like
movie.
and this a lot of the stuff with James Cameron in particular and everything
Mm-hmm.
is like just way over the fucking top. And I hadn't seen it in a while. I mean, I remembered it obviously and everything, but when it got to you know, send more paramedics and they both just erupted. I'm just like, oh, they're
Yeah.
doing it. And at the end, I'm like,
Some more
what'd you guys think? And Kyle's like, I fucking loved it.
paramedics. Yeah.
And so it was like one of those things that could go either way. And I think that maybe, you know, when you watch something like this, that you kind of hope it could go either way, but it doesn't really. It's just the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
I don't think it's, that redeemable.
Yeah. I mean, one of them's uh, directed by Dan O'Bannon. So the guy who wrote Alien and stuff
Yeah.
like it, Dark Star. Like, yeah, there's a difference in hand, and like that movie was intended to be that kind of that way as well. But yeah, I love Return of the Living. I didn't know so I forever because of video stores and stuff back then, and I have the internet. I thought that was a sequel to Night of the Living Dead. I didn't know Dawn existed for the longest because my video store had Night of the Living Dead and Return of the Living Dead. Return of the Living Dead 2 and 3, like, so I was like, oh, is that how it goes?
Yeah.
And yeah,
I didn't know, I think at the time that that came out. I mean, I knew about Dawn and Day,
Hmm.
but like you, I thought it was related in a different way. I didn't, know until later about the deal between Romero and Russo with the Of the Dead and Living Dead, like the
Yeah.
split they agreed to. And I had the good fortune to interview Russo a few years back
Okay.
for a Night of the Living Dead piece I did for the Post.
Yeah.
And but both he and Barbara, in fact. But
Okay.
Russo talked about that, like, spoke on the how they split him up. But now you can find that stuff out in seconds. In the
Hmm.
80s, you had to either get the right issue of Fangoria or know somebody that knew it or saw it on Entertainment Tonight.
Right. Right. And I was a kid, so I didn't grow up like Dawn came out before I was born, and Day came out when I was like a year old. So if the video store was my library, it was my history, it was my
Yeah,
encyclopedia for it. So if I didn't have it, I was like, I just put things together in my head to figure out. And Return was always touted as from the writers of the original Night of the Living, like that stuff. So it was like a fit, and they mention it in there. They tie it in a way. And it was like, oh, okay. So this
yeah,
is like they decided, because in the '80s they were bringing like they brought Texas Chainsaw back after not being around for like 12 years. So I
yeah,
figured that's what they did with Day of the Dead when horror was having or with Return of the Living Dead when it had its boom. And Tale of History, like Return of the Living Dead was a much bigger grossing movie at the box office than Day of the Dead. Took pop culture a lot more by storm. And it invented brain eating. Like that
yeah.
that came from that. So yeah.
Yeah, I think you had a couple of like head bites in the Romero films, but it wasn't expressly to eat the brains. And
Yeah,
the
yeah.
the zombies
Right.
didn't talk.
Right. Yeah.
So, so more brains, send more cops,
Mm-hmm.
send more paramedics.
Well, just like everybody's Frankenstein's monster impression comes from Bela Lugosi in Ghost of Frankenstein. Is it Ghost of Frank? Yeah,
Yeah.
Ghost of Frankenstein. Not like original or anything. Like people he didn't walk like that. It was from Ghost of Frankenstein, which look actually it was
Wait, Ghost Son.
Ghost. It was Son and then Ghost, and Ghost is actually Lon Chaney Jr. as the monster.
Yeah, isn't
It
isn't
was
Lugosi?
Frankenstein versus the Wolfman is where Lugosi plays him, and he's blind,
Yeah.
and that's why he's got his arms out and he clunks around.
Yeah,
But
Lugosi is Igor in Son of Frankenstein.
yes, I love Igor. That's my favorite Lugosi role. I like him better as that than Dracula. It's a weird take, but
No, no, it's
yeah.
cool. But it is interesting to see um the fabric that weaves through those
Hmm.
things where we get the stuff and and the send more cops. Um I had told the boys at one point, in the 80s, yeah, and like Terminator and stuff is not just in horror movies, but there's a lot of police station massacres
Yeah,
in these various horror films, or like see wide groups of police get wiped out, like or in the Monster Squad, not as many, but definitely a lot of cops die in the Monster Squad,
right.
including the dad's partner who gets blown up.
Halloween 4, Michael
Yeah,
Myers takes out a whole police station.
yeah, exactly. That was another one. But then when the guys and I are watching Malignant for the first time, and she gets out of the cell, and I'm like, oh, here we go.
Tis the season, everyone. Watch Malignant this spooky season.
God damn, I love that movie.
It's so good.
But
I love
yeah,
Malignant.
like as soon as it moves from the cells upstairs, I'm like, oh shit.
Gotta take out them cops. Gotta
But
take
yeah,
it out.
it is you know, and like I said, I have trafficked in this stuff myself. Anybody familiar with Zenescope knows that in addition to the fairy tale inspired sword and sorcery stuff that does lend toward the Cat Shea Lana Clarkson 80s version of said
Right.
material. Um, you know, where we had some really good stories, but also the unmistakable good girl slash bad girl art. Um, we did some horror anthology stuff. They had the Grim Tales of Terror that I wrote a few issues of, which are the Twilight Zone-y kind of things.
Mhm.
And some of them went way deep into that, and they had a buxom horror hostess character that kind of oversaw the stuff for the things. But those, and I'm not just talking about my stuff, though, like they were played more seriously
Mhm.
in things and played like straight. There was more of a plot driven thing in those because they were all about like the O. Henry Rod Serling twist, really. You're always looking for that like that bang, you
Yeah.
know, toward the end. That I think there's a lot of good ones that other people wrote, but of the ones that I did, I think the Boogeyman story um that I did with artist Eric Johnson, which had very little of the traditional stuff in it. It was probably the best one that I did. But yeah, man, they have a lot of publishers that do this kind of material. Like Trailer Park of Terror was another good one that had
Hmm.
the anthologies that kind of trafficked in some of this and everything. And that was done with a little bit more of a humorous bent.
Gotcha.
But this like I can't quite grasp like who the audience for like the spider story was.
No, like I don't know. Is there some fetish thing that's possible that I,
Maybe.
I'm not underground enough to know about or anything like that? I don't.
Yeah. I mean, it's very odd.
Yeah.
And yeah, but yeah, man, it's so funny when you said, "Oh, we made another one." I'm like, "Well, shit." Now I guess
Yeah. Yeah. While we have not praised this very highly and scratched our heads a lot, we will still accept another film from Glenn Danzig
that's right.
to check out.
It,
Don't
it
worry.
is. I think it is kind of that we grew up in the video store.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm a few years older than Brandon, like not super. Oh, I'm not 20 years older than Brandon.
No.
Don't think I'm 10 years older than Brandon, but but the thing of it is that if you had the HBO and Showtime and stuff at that point, that a lot of time was filled with B horror movies, and you had the video store that opened a whole playland of horror films and cult movies that you hadn't seen before. These were things that you would talk about and trade with people. It's like, oh, you won't fucking believe what I watched last week. Okay, let's go get it again. I actually had a Facebook post pretty recently um, the committee style picking out a movie among your friends in high school
Oh, geez.
that you would go through at the video store. And like I referenced like um, Evil Tunes and Teen Witch and Love at Stake and some of these
Oh, gee.
things that that I remember us watching at the time. And like you would find some real dog shit, but you would
Oh,
find some
yeah.
real gems in there too.
Well, I think what stands out with this Danzig stuff and that makes it more fascinating or able to like be like, I'd take another. He's got vision and definitely uncompromised vision.
Yeah,
And that does showcase here, even in the worst of it all. Like this is, you definitely feel like the guy got to make his film,
yeah,
and
and
I appreciate that.
and kind of I don't know if it's funny is the right word for it, but you know, I don't know that it hurts him that much if people like laugh about it or want to watch it in a joking capacity because he's still dancing.
Yeah. Well, and
You
the
know,
thing is, he's got here if he wants. I mean, like he can make a montage of it and play it on the backdrop screen at his concerts if he wants, and it probably works with plenty of songs.
yeah, I mean, he's still the guy that wrote Mother and Her Black Wings and
Mm-hmm.
Last Caress and Horror Business. I mean, he's still that dude.
Yeah.
His songs have been covered by, you know, I mean, holy shit. I at 92, the famous Guns N' Roses Metallica and Faith No
Yeah.
More tour. Guns N' Roses and Metallica both played Misfits covers.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the Guns N' Roses played Attitude, and Metallica played Last Caress Green Hell. Um, and that was they. I think Metallica closed with that.
Oh,
It was either the last song or the next to last song when Metallica played. So I mean, it was there is reverence for that work among a great many people. And that was still a year before he pops back out with the live version of Mother.
gotcha.
It's to add a little more context. So, I mean, he's fine.
Yeah,
Even if we make fun of it a little bit, he's gonna, maybe they'll do Lollapalooza next year. Maybe they'll do whatever the fuck they want.
right.
Glastonbury,
I mean, like this movie's just a little bit of a footnote, interesting aspect now. I mean, when it came out, he had to, you deal with he made a movie and it's nutty or whatever, and then this one has fault. Like it's not on streaming anywhere. I don't even know if you can. Oh, I think you can rent it somewhere. On
yeah,
I think maybe Apple, but like
yeah, it was
it's
Apple
yeah,
TV.
it's like, but he hit it. It's like it's never come. It's not really ever come back up. Um, had its quick moments. And yeah, he's fine because everybody's like, well, he's not known as the Glenn Danzig, the auteur filmmaker. He's the musician, and then
Yeah,
comics, and then maybe he made some films. Like that's
right. He could have been Wolverine.
and could have been Wolverine. But yeah, that's Verotika, the Glenn Danzig uh triple feature anthology horror erotic film. There's nothing really erotic about it. I don't.
Yeah.
It's got boobs. Like that's what it's got. Uh,
If you feel like Joe Bob Briggs now, it's like it's got boobs, it's got eyeball boobs, it's got
yeah, it's got two. It's got a pair of eyeball boobs. It's got these boobs. It's got boobs with
spider demon anal.
yes, spider demanding anal. Uh, it's got a woman a stripper who takes people's faces off. Yeah,
Joe Bob says check it out.
and lots of bathing in blood at the end. So, okay,
It's a
Troy.
lot.
Uh, thank you for being my guest to celebrate 5 years of this show and kicking off the sixth. It will continue. It's not going to end. I tell people I do things like 5 years a good window. Then I kind of reassess. There was no question about reassessing this. Year six was a go. But until then, what you got going on? Where can people keep up with you?
Well, thank you, Brandon. As Brandon mentioned, Marvel Comics for Dummies is in stores, and mid-December, just before Christmas, X-Men for Dummies will be in stores. You can pre-order it now from all your favorite pre-ordering book places. I have, I wish I could tell you the specifics of the date, but right now, it hasn't been set yet. But I have a backup story coming from Bag Idea Comics, that'll be in stores before the end of the year.
Okay.
It's a 8-page backup that's going to be, for people who are in the know about that. In some comics, you'll have a main story and then a backup story that's about 8 pages, and I wrote one of those for Bad Idea. And so look for that probably November, December. But if you follow me in my regular places, like the Saturday Evening Post or on my social stuff, which I'm on a bunch of them, Facebook, Blue Sky, Threads, etc., you can find me and see what I'm doing.
All right. I'm on the socials at Brandon4KUHD. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel where you can find 4K reviews for Superman, the Nightmare on Elm Street 4K set, Corpse Bride 4K, Jurassic World Rebirth 4K, and the Spencer for Hire complete series DVD, as well as many others in the past. The show will return when it returns. I've got stuff planned, not recorded, don't know what order it goes in, so I'm not going to tell you what's next. It's just going to hit you. But until then, stay film positive.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios, and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at BrandonPetersShow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at BrandonPetersShow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.
Welcome to Cult Cinema Cavalcade. This is episode 0. Brandon is my name.